Is Phil Spencer's recent focus on 60 frames per second an indication that the war in the cloud between Stadia and Xbox is just heating up? Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another video. And before we get into this one, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. I appreciate all of y'all straight up because y'all know the deal. I am not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. All right, so this is kind of like part 2 of a video that I was doing where I started off on my original video on my other platform talking about this apparent flip-flop from Phil Spencer, okay? And we covered why we think there's a flip-flop, something that was said in a current article, things that were said in a previous article. But before we dig back into that detail, I just want to lay the preface for this down, lay it all on the table so everybody understands where we're coming from here. All right. And I want to say this as well. Over the last several days, if not the last week, pretty much since we released here at the Stadia Dosage, since we released that compare video, some things have happened in the gaming community that just opened my eyes. I mean, I kind of knew this, but I didn't realize and it didn't really dawn on me at what level this had an impact on people's thinking. Now, what is that thing that I'm talking about? Look, y'all, there's just a profound hate for Stadia, period. And this is even before the launch. This is before the AMA that went bad. This is upon the pronunciation of what Stadia was and what it was offering, or what they were saying in the marketing material since the very beginning, y'all. Look, here's the real deal, Holyfield. People are just simply mad at the audacity of a non-dedicated device solution to gaming. That's just the way that it was. Ever since this thing was Projekt Stream, there have been haters and doubters, and those haters and doubters have been filtering through the haystack, looking for any needle, looking through the garbage, trying to find any muck to bring up and sling at Stadia, all right? And so first, here's what they've done. Let's run down everything that they've attempted. So first, they made an issue with the possibility of Stadia just not including a device solution, right? And when that didn't work, they went heavy on the features. Oh, the 4K and the streaming and all that other stuff, that ain't there. We love that type of stuff. What's going on here, right? And then when that didn't work, because when they realized that the 4K was good enough, you know what I'm saying, and that nobody really cared about the features right now because they don't even understand what the hell they're supposed to do, then they tried to lie on the performance, all right? And when they couldn't lie on the performance, they said that, you know, nobody's engaged, that there's only 100,000 people, if that are doing that. And when that lie was exposed, then they focused on the games, which honestly, the games will stick because, but it makes you wonder though, right? It makes you wonder that if all the other stuff didn't even matter, then what would be people's prospect? And let's just say if all that stuff that Stadia was promoting was there. Let's just say if the 4K was fantastic. Let's just say if all the features was there. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. Except the games. Would that have made y'all happy? No, because it's all about the game. So again, people were just looking for excuses to dog the thing. They've been doing this since Projekt Stream. This is not like some blaring phenomenon that people were excited to have at mass through the community, and they were welcoming this with open arms. They were not happy with this altogether. And all Xbox did is they sat back, they watched the mud being slung at Stadia, They realized the Stadia performance and they said, you know what? Well, we gonna change our own too. We just gonna say that all we care about as far as cloud streaming is concerned is that cloud streaming is just good for what? When you're away from your console, right? Now, on to the Phil Spencer flip-flop. He's went from talking about the 2 billion gamers and then abandoning that, then sicking his goons out in social media to make Destiny 2 on his Xcloud or X-lousy platform, as I like to call it, in all its blurry, staggering glory, seem like the Stadia killer, to now he's talking about frames, right? Frames is the big all, tell all, see all, right? And let's just go back to something. We've already discussed with my homie, let me go back a little bit. We already discussed with my homie where on social media, my homie Shock Nero, big ups to him and TXR podcast. You know what I mean? Big ups to them. If you're into Xbox podcasts, check them out. But somebody was saying that this was a flip-flop, and he responded and showed a 2014 article where Phil was talking about frames and was like, no, this isn't a flip-flop. Since 2014, Phil's always been about the flames. And I said, Shock, you got to read the article, bro. You're just getting on with the Twitter fingers and you're not looking at the full context here. And if you read the article, Phil only talks about frames in 2014 to signify the fact, or the damage control rather, the fact that Xbox couldn't hang with PlayStation as it related to resolution. So his argument in 2014 is frames is more important. As long as we got the same frames on the same games as PlayStation, we cool, right? But then in the advent of them feeling like they took it over the power narrative, you jump to 2017, where they're getting interviewed about the Xbox One X, the quote-unquote most powerful console, right? And the interviewer says, hey, all right, now you proposing that we pay another $500. We paid $400 or $500 at release. We paid another $400 when the Xbox One S came out the year prior to the X. Now we're supposed to pay another $500. Like, what are we getting so special out of this box that warrants another $500 after $400 after another $500? Are we at least getting a consistent 60 frames per second? And then Phil laughs and says, why do you care about frames? But hold on, let me roll back this beautiful beat footage. Excuse me. Frame rate to me is significantly more important. But that's 2014, 2017, he's asking, why you care about the frames? And he also says in the interview, confusing things like, well, visuals affect gameplay too, when he's like, hold on, but frames is the biggest thing about gameplay. And then he also says here, which I don't have in his caption, well, nobody knows about frames. You only want to talk about the frames. I mean, I dig what you're saying. I can dig it about the frames, but nobody care about frames. To now in 2020, he's saying, Spencer says that he and the Xbox team are valuing higher, more consistent frame rates over just throwing more pixels up on the screen. Golly! And to that I say, to all that flippity flop, you get the Martin face, Spencer. But with that said, why is the homie Phil Spencer now all of a sudden again focused on frames? And again, people are gonna laugh at this, or people are like, you're connecting dots that don't exist. But here's the problem, y'all. Microsoft don't think the way that y'all think about this. Y'all want to follow the idiot herd. Y'all want to follow the outrage culture. Y'all just want to solidify the angst and I hate using this word, but the fear-mongering that y'all had about a pure cloud gaming solution altogether. The same people that are hating on Stadia now were hating on Projekt Stream, even though Projekt Stream was working fantastic, and all we had at the end of the day was the end users, you know what I'm saying, oh, this thing is fantastic. Oh, well, whatever. I haven't played this, so I don't care about it, right? People simply just want this to fail. You have people proclaim that no one wants Stadia, even though with the games, you know what I'm saying, even though there's games that you can play on Stadia, you know what I mean, that have a better performance than most of the consoles out there. And so this is what I gotta question my friends that are so outraged and upset at the audacity of a Stadia without the dedicated solution. I don't understand what the business proposition is. Well, let me put it to you like this. So let me ask you this. So being able to play games at great fidelity, better than most consoles, faster frames, and at a fraction of the price, don't matter? You don't think that there's not somebody out there that would want to do that? They know it matters. Like, I'm gonna give you two quick examples. First and foremost, my son, who was a Stadia hater, but he loves Borderlands. All right, and he has an Asus ROG 15 laptop. If you're not familiar with the specs, it has a 97M card in there. I'm not quite sure the CPU, but it's a decent gaming laptop. But he wants to play Borderlands 3, his favorite franchise of all times, and decent resolution, decent fidelity at least 60 frames per second. And if he plays it natively on that laptop, he can't do it. He don't want to play on no console. And a lot of these kids nowadays don't want to play at no 20, 30 frames per second because they're used to playing Fortnite. They're used to playing these other games at 60 frames per second. So for the old fogies like me, 30 frames per second is okay. But to these kids that are used to Fortnite, it ain't floating their boat. So he wants to play Borderlands at 60 frames per second at least. He can't do that on console right now. And right now, the PC hardware he got ain't doing it. So he got to wait for Pops to invest a few more $100, maybe $1,000 more in all. And he know that I'm not jumping out of the window to do that anytime soon. But along comes Stadia. And just for the entry price of $130 or a buddy pass, now he can play his favorite game. And then once the buddy pass runs out, it's only $10 a month, and he can play it on a web browser better than he can play it on a $500 console. That speaks volumes to the potential gamers that are out there. They need to stop with the silliness. And gamers know this, but again, how dare does Stadia have the audacity to give such a solution when we are staunch about our dedicated devices? See, here's the fact. Here's a low down dirty facts. Like at the beginning of this generation, when those same outrage culture activists and idiot herd people, leaders and shepherds, told you that DRM was the devil and listening devices like Kinect would make babies disappear, when they was able to successfully do that a little over 6 years ago, we are now increasingly digital. And everyone is scrambling to get Alexa in their home to order wart cream next day air. So I can't tell you if Stadia is ultimately going to win, but these same paranoid outrage enthusiasts are trying their best to make sure that it doesn't, because they want to mimic the same success that they had at the beginning of this generation. Why? Because they have an agenda. Now again, I can't tell you if Stadia is going to win. I can't tell you if this agenda is going to succeed. But here's what I can tell you. First and foremost, it won't fail due to a lack of Google's effort. Gaming is going to be a $300 billion industry by 2025. Trust me, Google's not looking at this thing ever so lightly. This is the early phase, early access phase. They're collecting data. Their job wasn't to reach mass critical levels of gamers right now. I think they did want to do better than what they're doing now, but it's not detrimental right now. You know what I mean? To where they got enough people, they're collecting data, they're improving the service, and then once they're ready, they're going to release their base service and they're going to do the full launch. All right. What I can also tell you is that it's not going to fail because the performance can't hang. Simply put, it's the best performing cloud service out there because of their staunch device agnostic stance. I get the Shadow's out there and it does well over the cloud. I get that Nividia is out there and it does well over the cloud. But those are complementary services, okay? Those are services based upon you primarily focusing on your dedicated device solution. And if you want to travel with the games that you bought for your dedicated device, you can pluck on their subscription service on top of that, okay? Right now, they're in beta, but when they go to full launch, you gotta pay the $60 and you gotta pay whatever the subscription fee is on top of that. With Google Stadia, when their full launch happens, you can just buy the game and enjoy Stadia as long as you buy it off of Stadia. And on top of that, because there is no backups, because they can't rely on a dedicated device, Stadia has ensured that they have the best cloud gaming solution. So that's what makes the product and the performance better than all of the competitors at the time of this recording, as far as the performance, again. And lastly, what I can definitely tell you is that it won't fail while Microsoft is just resting on their laurels. Microsoft is doing everything that they can to put their foot on the next to Stadia, and I get it. I just don't like the methodology that they're doing that. It's not like they're caveating information. It seems like that they're angsting people on the lie. You know what I'm saying? While they're jumping all over the place, and then why you got your boy on the screen, Philly Spence, full dispense. You know what I'm saying? Sitting there just flip-flopping all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Now, as illustrated, Xbox as a company are doing all that they can to stifle the cloud solution mechanism that Stadia is using right now until they are ready to perform at that level. Trust me, once they're ready to perform at that level, they won't be talking, oh, no, the cloud gaming is only good for, when you're away from your console. They'll be talking that $2 billion gamer talk again. Trust me. And that's it from your boy MM2K. Let me know what you think about what I had to say in the comment section below, because like I always say, here's what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and the Stadia Dosage. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the two-part series. As always, have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.